when you have decadent houses, these are the two of them are understanding houses, two of them are transforming. You're having to understand based on what experiences you've had. You're having to transform based on what's happening. You know, like one, you're trying to fix or transform things. One, you're having to understand and learn about things. Either one, they're adapting and they're understanding, transforming. So when your sun is in one of the angular houses, you're not going to be as pushy as the sun in the angular. When your sun's in the mutable houses, you're not going to be as pushy as when it's in an angular house, or as stubborn or determined as when it's in the succeeding houses. But you'll be very adaptable and multifaceted. The multitaskers, they can do 3 or 4 things at the same time, can be there. Or people are trying to improve or make something better or fix things, either personally or socially. So when the sun's in your 3rd house, it's the house of personal expression. You need to understand your relationships to brothers and sisters. You need to learn from it. You need to pick up your language. You need to express your motives and where you're coming from, and being able to talk about what your motives are and talk about what you know deeply to be true, and get your ideas out. This is for writers, teachers. People might even say someone who gets a car and travels around, just do it following their own ideas and expressing that in as many ways as possible. That's the 3rd house, and that would be important. So knowledge and expression is important. Listen, I'm talking. I want to say things. This is important, but it may assume that other people's talking isn't as important. Okay. When you put the sun in the 12th house, it's where you're projecting out into the world and you're not sure if you fit in or not. You say hello, or you say, hey, how you doing? Or what's up? You know, like you can say, if you're putting out negative energy, hey, dummy, or hey, and you're putting out negative energy, you're putting out positive, it's going to affect what friends you have and what status you have. So a lot of difficult things happen to suns in the 12th house where you have to be conscientious. If someone's being bullied, do you help? If something's being robbed, do you get involved or you just back away? So this conscientiousness of what's right and what's wrong, it's kind of a moral thing. You know when you're living rightly, and you know when something's wrong. And the fighting for something that's wrong, being behind the scenes and trying to fix something, transform it socially, that's the 12th house. It's very conscientious. It could be saving gorillas in Africa. It could be transforming the school system, or transferring a government so it's taking care of vets or other people who haven't been taken care of. There's this conscientiousness to it. The conscientiousness is usually complicates how much status and honor and position. The honor and the power is there, and these are the things that should be taken care of, but often aren't. So this is people in the 12th house, they have a tendency to be, let's just say, they're not going to be so high profile because they're going to see the problems that are needed to fix things and need to work on that before the thing just of how to use power. But they're very useful people to be part of a community, a part of a group, because they are the conscience. They are the ones that are taking care of the underdogs. The losers are sensitive to it, and they're thinking about it and want to do something about it. And they'll build their respect and their importance up from empowering conscientiousness. And you can work within a system, you can volunteer, you can help things. This is the 12th house. It's kind of behind the scenes helping, making a difference. And that by helping other people, they become friends, and then you get a certain respect to it. Mother Teresa would be a good example, because I can't remember, I don't know where her house is. I should have it, but I don't. But she ran her places very brutally, very efficiently. But she was always motivated by a conscientiousness of helping the lepers and helping the poor and making things work. So it gave her credibility for being in status. If you're in status and power, but you haven't doing anything right, you're not going to last there long. Okay. The 9th house is your ethics, your morals, your principles about how things should be happening. The 12th house is what's wrong and how do we fix it. It's like, oh, this was a problem. This didn't work right. There's a need. I'm thinking about how to fix this. But there's a morality of how to live, of how people, what's right and wrong, of how people together come, who understands right, who doesn't understand it. Right? So someone in the 9th house has this philosopher preacher element. My understanding is important. I want to show you. And these people are usually driven to get, it works best when they're driven to get a higher degree because they've worked up a higher level of understanding. But it can come from being on the streets. It can come from bringing up kids. It can come from anywhere. You have an understanding of what's right and wrong for people. So if you want to be with people, would you work with somebody who you don't think is moral or right? Or if you have your principles and morals, if you're, how would you say it? Okay, you're a strong Christian, for example, you believe in, you don't believe in abortion or things like this, but you're working for a company that is pro-choice. Wow, that affects your morality, it affects your consciousness, and you're having to understand and transform. It's challenging your understanding. So if your son's there, it's important to resolve that one way or another. And you'll be strong in your take on what's right or wrong. So that's why I say it's kind of half preacher, half philosopher. It's the interpretation of the law, like what's right or wrong, what could be done, what can you do, what can't you do. It's kind of the interpretation of the law and understanding it. The actuality of who's doing what is in the 8th house and how it's shared, but all the things that go right or wrong and how it should be is set up in the 9th house. So someone with their son there would empower that understanding, would have a powerful understanding of social appropriateness. Okay. That goes as far as if you're thinking one thing's right, but your partner doesn't, are you responsible for being with that partner? It goes there. But these people have strong understandings and quick to be powerful and be sure that they're right and be challenged whenever someone's saying they don't understand. They'll assume other people don't understand and they're there to inform them. In the 6th house, the house of duty, health, duty, service, of improvement, it's the sun is setting you right. It's important to always be improving, to take feedback in and always improve yourself, good or bad feedback. You're improving your performance, you're improving your skills, you're responding and learning how to respond better and better rather than getting more and more extreme in how difficult things come in and making it. If you get worried at work or in a partnership, you're not happy, partner's always out and never coming home and you're alone, and that can make you worry so much that it makes you sick because you're not making love or whatever. You don't know where the person is. It can create a lot of dysfunction and personal insensitivity. So when something like that happens, you're being challenged to try and improve yourself while that's happening. Even if you can't improve the other person, you're trying to improve and find things to do that are useful, that let you grow, to balance that off. But the power is on improving and on the duty and on being healthy and I have to adjust this. You have to. You're not doing that. It's going to make you sick. Like your power is going to be on that ability to transform what you have to make things better, to improve. Okay, so we've got through the angular, succeeding, cadent, and now we have the areas of self. Like we have the fire, water, air houses, or as Jones would call them, the worlds of. There's four different worlds. There's a world of self, a world of concerns, a world of relationships, and a world of rewards. And each one, I always like them the most. Now I can use either word and it works okay. Because astrology makes you expand your use of words and what they mean. So it helps your literacy, improve your literacy in astrology, but also helps you improve your literacy in whatever language you're working with. So the self is one area of concern. My performance is another area of concern. And my principles and what I believe in is another area. So I have my identity, my performance, and my understanding. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm understanding. Want to play this. I want to do this. And that's who I am. So if you have your son in any of these, it's like a fireplace. It's going to reinforce and charge. The sun's going to empower. It's going to make that fire burn brighter. It's going to make it more important. That it's going to put attention on that house. So if it's in the first house, we already know it's angular being, you're pushing it, but it's fire. You're not going to push it in a passive way. You're going to have to do things, be active. It's the worlds of self-identity and doing things to make your self-identity. Nobody else is going to do anything to make your self-identity. It's what you do. You get a bike, but you put your own flag or your name on it. You get a car, you get a business, you have your personal logo on it, just your personal identity. It's important. Oh yeah, and here's my wife, and here's my husband. Like, it's important. It's a strong identity more than the sharing. So the sun makes you self-centered and strong in that first house of identity. It can be very arrogant, but it can also be very creative, but it's all about me and my name on it. Don't challenge that. Not about status, it's about recognition, being noticed. The fifth house of performance, well, let's take the understanding one first. The ninth house of understanding, here's my identity, and I understand that I'm the astrologer, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, this is who I am, and this is my understanding. You're coming to me, I'm going to tell you what I think is right or wrong. The morality, this is good, this is bad, this should be, this shouldn't be. The principles and the ethics of things, that's your ninth house. We all have a strong sense of my understanding. You're going to challenge my understanding? You think I'm not doing something right? How dare you? Like, we respond in pride to these things, but the sun puts importance on what's right or wrong and how we are. So someone's going to be able to justify their own existence. This is why I'm doing this. This is why it's going to put the power on the understanding, on the ethics, on the morality, and it's important that I'm being that. So we're getting further and further away from definitions, and we're using the words that are images of energies or areas of concern, and we're making the associations of seeing the sun go into these areas of concern and begin to affect behavior. So that's what we want to get to. What's the old expression in Chinese? Words are the trails to images. Follow the words till you get the images. Images are the traps of meaning. Once you have the images, you don't need the words, but you could, once you gather the images, you can encompass the meaning. Once you have the meaning, you no longer need the images because you already understand. That's when we're writing, we're reading the words, we're getting the pictures. It's finally the pictures let us dawn on the implication of something. So I'm using the words and the images to try and develop some comprehension of how these distinctions work and make them more familiar. So when the sun's in the fifth house, I mean, I may have my identity, I may live up to my morality, or I may not. But if your sun's in the ninth house, you're going to be, your morality and your sense of other people's immorality is going to be very strong, and it's very strong in your reactive process to people. I'm good, they're bad. I'm right, they're wrong. You know, like this is correct, this isn't, and how to transform it. Yeah, a good example of this morality or judgment would be King Solomon, and he had the wisest king and emperor, and he had these two women had a baby, each had a baby the same night, and one baby died. And the two women were both saying that the baby that lived was their baby. Okay, so one's really bad, saying, I want the other baby, it's mine died. But one person is being really, it's their own baby. How could someone try and take my baby? So the two of them they're fighting, they're screaming, they're both trying to take the baby. So finally they got to the king, how do you solve this? And King Solomon, he says, give me the baby. He picks up the baby, he holds the baby up with one hand, give me your sword, he takes the sword, and he holds his hand up, and he's just going to cut the baby in two. And one mother comes up, no, stop, give her the baby. And he would know that that would be the real mother. There's wisdom. There's ethics, there's morality. And there's a sense of what's right and wrong and the judgments of how punishment should come.